Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm gonna go over a post like I did in the previous video. This one's called Officially Retired at 27. The writer says, I made about $2 million after taxes on meme stock calls in January, and as of today, I'm done working. I didn't quit earlier because teleworking wasn't bad, but now that we have to go back into the office, I decided to call it quits. It only took one day of commuting to realize how bad it is that I used to be wasting 2 hours commuting every single weekday. My boss didn't believe me when I said I was done working until I said I'm not coming in after the 18th, and if he doesn't want me to outprocess, I won't. I don't have many plans going forward other than playing some games I've always wanted to get into. I've started an indoor garden, and I've started reading books for enjoyment for the first time since high school. My biggest worry is that I'll get bored and go find another job after a few years, but hopefully I can find some other cool stuff to do. As for what I'm gonna do with my money, I'll pay off my house, my only remaining debt, in full to bring my yearly expenses down to $25,000 to $35,000 range. So he thinks he'll be spending about $25,000 to $35,000 a year to live. I'll slowly put most of the money into an S&P 500 fund over the next 2 or 3 years. After digging into bonds, I decided I'd rather just have cash instead and use that to buy any dips that come. So he's not gonna go all in now. He's gonna slowly, dollar cost average, invest into an S&P 500 mutual fund. He's not going to buy any bonds. He says, I want to keep my withdrawals in the 2 to 3% range since that seems to be the best for making a nest egg last forever. So in the first paragraph, he said he has $2 million. If he withdraws 2% of $2 million, that's $40,000 a year. 3% is $60,000 a year. So if he does that, the science says he shouldn't run out of money, so he can live on $60,000 or $40,000 or $60,000 a year for the rest of his life and be okay. He says, I'll probably do periodic updates since I imagine there are likely others like me who made a lot this year. Also, health insurance are high. He says I shouldn't have to pay $500 per month and have a $17,000 deductible for a 2-person household. So where did the money come from? He says he cashed out his 401k of about $80,000 and went all in on Gamestop calls far out of the money. So Gamestop was a company that was doing very, very poorly for a long time, making no profits because you can buy video games online. You don't need to go to a store to buy them. You can just buy them while you're playing. You just click and it's all connected to the internet and you can just get the electronic game, download like you'd watch a Netflix movie. You can download a game. You don't need to go to the store, and GameStop sold video games. No one needs to go to the store to buy video games. So the company was going under. There were some powerful people shorting GameStop, and if it went bankrupt, those people would make lots of money. Well, some people got together on Reddit and said, no, let's not let this happen. Let's punish these short sellers and push the stock price up. So lots of people on Reddit started buying GameStop to push the stock price up. It went up, even though there were still no profits and no way ahead. Those short sellers, I think one company filed for bankruptcy, and some people got rich. I'll show you the screen here. So this is GameStop over here. Down here, 2018, the stock price is at $3, $3, $3, $3, $3. Then this stuff starts happening. Then the stock price goes to $80, from $3 to $80. So this is when all the stuff started happening. So this guy got rich right around here. And what he says is he cashed out his 401k, so he bet his entire retirement on this lottery. He bought GameStop call options, which are very risky. And if it's out of the money, it's even more risky. But you can make huge money on call options that are out of the money. You can make 100 times your money on that if you do. He didn't make 100 times, but he made maybe 50 times. Because if he has $2 million after tax, that's probably like $4 million before tax. So he turned 80,000 into $4 million by betting on this lottery. I would never, ever, ever recommend anyone do anything like this. This is his entire future. When he's 27, he bet it on a lottery ticket. But he got lucky and won. So that's what happened here. He says, lots of people are commenting that I'll run out of money. Well, anything can happen. Every study I've read came to the conclusion retirement funds are not expected to ever run out if someone only withdraws a few percent per year. The investment would be expected to actually outpace inflation and grow. So if he only pulls out 2% a year and the stock market should return more than that, then he should be fine. Like he shouldn't run out of money if he can live on $40,000 a year. But I would bet it's kind of hard to live on $40,000 a year for 50 years or 60 years. It seems you're not spending very much money if you're only spending $40,000 a year. Others have said that I'll be living on too little, which I also don't agree with. I'm already living at these income levels since I've invested nearly all my spare income over the years. Like the FI sub preaches. FI means financial independence. Sub means this particular place on Reddit. The only difference is now I don't have to go to work to exist anymore. He also says I paid on my taxes. $2 million is after-tax money. I think he's not wrong, but I think life gets more expensive as you get older. A 27-year-old's expenses are not the same as a 47-year-old's expenses, or not the same as a 57-year-old's expenses. So I think it seems okay now, but I don't think it's going to work forever. Or I think potentially it's not going to work forever. It's hard to live on $40,000 your whole entire life. If we go down, this comment says, congrats, I fired at 37. That means financial independence, retire early. This guy quit at 37. It says, weird feeling sometimes, but there is more than enough in a world for a curious mind to enjoy. I started with taking care of mental health, now physical health. That seems a great thing to do. If you're going to retire early, you need to take care of your health. That's your most valuable asset. So mental health as well as physical health. And I think mental health is really important. We're going to talk more about that as we go on a little bit. I'm intentional with my hobbies and I really enjoy them. Health insurance is a drag. I pay about double what you pay, but it's necessary. Last year I picked up a bike with a storage rack. I really enjoy riding to the library, get a handful of groceries, etc. Both fun and active. I pretty much keep that I'm retired on the down low. I tell people I trade stocks, which I kind of do, but most don't understand that means I can work no hours a month or 10. So I think he's right. I mean, if you just retire at 27 and don't do anything, maybe it's cool to play games for a couple days or a couple weeks or something, but I think you're going to get bored out of your mind. You need to find something to do with your life. You need to get some wins. You need to stay engaged. You need to be productive. I think happiness isn't easy. Like, easy does not equal to happiness. That's not right. That's not how the equation goes. You need to be productive and successful. That's important to being happy. This comment says, that's awesome, man. I hope you find meaningful things to dedicate your life to. This is by far one of the most exciting and critical times to be alive. I hope you use at least some of your intelligence and ability to help others. The next one says, your 3% withdrawal will only be safe for fully invested assets. That means if you have put all your money in your bed, all in cash, and you spend 3% per year, you're going to run out of money. Your plan to DCA, dollar cost average, over a bunch of years and hold lots of cash instead of bonds and try to time dips, plus the fact that you made this amount in a lucky meme stock, to me makes your plan sound risky. I agree. He's waiting to invest his money when the stock market falls. Well, what if it never falls? Like, then he's going to have cash, which is going to lead to him running out of money. So I agree with this poster saying it sounds risky, but it doesn't have to be. If you've won the game, stop playing. 100% agree with that. The original poster, pulled $80,000 of his entire retirement out and bought these GameStop options. If he ever does that again, I think the chances you win the lottery twice in your life is very, very low. He could lose it all. So I think he needs to never, ever, ever play the game again. At least, I mean, invest is fine, but buy options out of the money, it seems you're going to lose. You can't win that twice in your life, I don't think. If you've won the game, stop playing. That means developing an asset allocation and a planned glide path of stocks and bonds through your life. He says yesterday, which means you need to do it right now. Don't wait. And sticking to it. Again, don't keep playing if you think you've won. That's for sure true. Glide path just means like a withdrawal rate and how is income going to come to you over the next, if this guy's going to live 50 or 60 more years. The next poster says, congratulations, you may want to diversify more than just the S&P 500. You should think about VT or VTI. So VT is a mutual fund that buys stocks all over the world, not just in US, but every country. And VTI buys all the stocks in the US. So it's not, the S&P 500 is just 500 large stocks. VTI would buy about 5,000 stocks of all US companies publicly traded. This would help the main guys, his risk a little bit if he diversified more by buying international stocks and or more US stocks than just 500. So I agree with that. Hey OP, that means original poster. I'm looking at your edits. You are correct. Keep your expenses low and invest in indexes. You're not gonna run out of money. In fact, it should grow over time. That means if you spend only $40,000 a year every single year, your wealth may increase. Look at medical tourism if you need a major procedure, much cheaper than in the US. What medical tourism is it means if you need knee surgery and the hospital in the US will charge you $20,000, but you could go to the Bahamas and get it done for $3,000. He's saying fly to Bahamas and get your knee surgery done for $3,000 instead of spending $20,000 in the US. The next one says you're in a nice position. I made half as much as you with my crypto back in 2018 at age 25, but quit my gig at 24 from doing a few trades before I cashed out. I've since tripled my net worth through heavy investment in tech, but it's not all peaches and cream, as some might try and tell you. Just like everything in life, there exists downsides to everything, no matter how bright and silver the plate may be. For me, I experienced pure freedom for 3 years, getting used to and enjoying my newfound form of life. I traveled to 27 countries, essentially doing whatever I wanted. Went out to dinners, bought my dream car, took boxing and piano lessons. I did it all. And perhaps I got it out of my system because once I did everything I wanted, I became bored and depressed. I couldn't get out of bed some days. I became consumed by my Xbox while falling into the traps of instant gratification. It took me a while to understand the why, because I didn't quite understand why an abundance of money didn't solve life, given how many are so desperate to reach it. But at the end of the day, it became apparent that my happiness was dependent on goals and achievement while basking in those little moments that only a job could provide. Since then, I've started my own company, and although I faced a huge learning curve and a copious amount of sleepless nights building it, I couldn't be happier. I lived the best of both worlds, being my own boss, never missing out on water cooler talk, while also not caring too much about how successful I need to be. In short, money can be quite hindering to your mental health. I totally agree with this. I think it's not healthy and it's not going to make you happy to just sit at home your whole entire life because you can. Like, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. I think sitting at home your entire life for 50 years would be awful. I mean, it might as well be in a jail cell. That sounds awful. And to do things, you need money. So you're probably going to, I don't think $40,000 a year is going to get it done. Not in the US. In short, money can be quite hindering to your mental health, regardless of your net worth. It's ever so important to keep your brain stimulated with progress and being social. I agree. You need social connections and you need some success, some progress, some productivity. Just because you beat most people's versions of life through retirement doesn't mean you should submit yourself to a life of pure bliss. That means don't just sit on your butt and do nothing all the time. That's bad. Happiness is conducive on keeping your mind active through building relationships, learning new things, and above all, through goals and challenges. Yes, he says if you want to be happy, you need relationships, you need to keep learning, you need to accomplish some goals and overcome some challenges. That's absolutely true. There's a reason other than greed why so many rich people continue to work. Enjoy some freedom, give yourself a huge pat on the back, but don't fall out of love with yourself, progress, or challenges. Also, adopt an income-producing investment strategy. No need for so much risk anymore. So don't buy any more out of the money options. Also, dating is different. Try and avoid girls who just want your money. But I think the original poster said he's buying insurance for two, so I assume he has a wife already. So that's not really a thing. I think whatever the guy who made the first post did by pulling all of his retirement out to buy out of the money call options on GameStop last year is crazy and risky, and no one should ever do that. That's crazy. I think he is very, very lucky, and hopefully he never, ever gambles again, because that's for sure gambling. That is exactly playing the lottery, but not buying a dollar ticket. That's buying $80,000 worth of tickets. Crazy. But he won. I think for sure he needs to not ever gamble again with stocks, and I think he needs to find something to keep himself busy. I think retirement can be fine if you're productive, if you have some goals, if you stay healthy, if you stay active, both mind and body. If you don't do that, I think 50 years of trying to pinch pennies and not having any goals would be awful. And you only get one life, and you definitely shouldn't waste it doing that. That would be awful. So those are my thoughts. If you have any comments, please put those below. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video.